Ondo Assembly seeks federal government intervention on Osrc incursion. National Economic Council suspends planned removal of subsidies on petroleum products. And from the foreign scene, locals in Darfur arm themselves as new civil war fears rise over shifting alliances in Sudan.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on the news tonight. My name is Timile Faladi. Ondo State Acting Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has reaffirmed that the southwest region of Nigeria would continue to remain the pace-setter in terms of development in the country. At the opening of a second edition of Southwest Investment Promotion Agency's conference in Akure, Aiyedatiwa said the two focus points of the conference, energy and rail transportation, would drive development in the region. The summit has as its theme, powering Southwest for productivity through increased investment in infrastructures.
Two-day conference, which is being hosted by the Ondo State Investment Promotion Agency, ONDIPA, in partnership with the Dawn Commission, seeks to engage relevant stakeholders on strategies to further advance development of the region. At the opening of the two-day summit, Acting Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa commended the Dawn Commission for bringing the Southwest states together to work for sustainable development of the region. Aiyedatiwa, while lauding ONDIPA for its massive development drive in Ondo State and in extension the Southwest, said the energy sector and rail transportation will form the bedrock of future development of the Southwest.
It is essential to know that access to energy will bring about strong development across our region. We must therefore work together to provide the enabling environment for the private sector to play its role in the provision of this key infrastructure to our people. The rail system will enable our towns and villages to be closer to one another and to the big cities in a quicker, safer, and cheaper way.
The Director General of Dawn Commission, Dr. Sheye Oyeleye, reiterated the need to fast-track development in the region.
Development must happen here at a faster pace, and it needs deliberate efforts, game-changing ideas from forums like this. The ideas will not drop from heaven. We must take these ideas to the center and tell them that we are not asking you to come and build a road or come and build classroom. What we want is create that enabling environment for a region like this to take its rightful place.
The Chief Executive Officer of ONDIPA, Mr. Gbenga Badejo, explained that the conference has the unique opportunity to turn around Western Nigeria and make it the pride of Africa.
This conference has the unique opportunity. We all have the same unique opportunity as those young men and women that I mentioned earlier to turn around Western Nigeria. Not only to return it to the glory days, but to do better and transform this our beautiful corridor and make it the darling of Africa.
The event featured goodwill messages from representatives of government across the Southwest region.
The Ondo State House of Assembly has called on governments at all levels, relevant authorities as well as international community to come to the aid of residents of Osrc side. The move was sequel to another Russian surge which wreaked havoc on the community, destroyed properties worth millions of naira, and rendered many of the residents homeless. The Speaker, Bamidele Olayelogun, made the plea during plenary at the floor of the House. House of Assembly correspondent Omoshilola Adesuyo Ajayi now reports.
The hardship faced by residents of Ayetoro seaside as a result of frequent sea incursion, renewed attacks of herdsmen, kidnapping, communal clash and land border crisis were among issues raised at the floor of the House. During plenary, the Speaker, Bamidele Oleyelogun, who presided over the sitting, said the issues are of public importance which required urgent attention by concerned authorities. On Ayetoro Surge, the Speaker called for permanent solution to the plight of the people after the lawmaker representing Ilaje Constituency 1, Abayomi Akinrutan, tabled the predicaments of residents of the affected areas before the House.
Tí wọ́n lè ti ṣe oríire níbẹ̀ orí ìdàgbẹ́gbà ètò ní gbogbo wa pariwo ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àgbègbè ni omi ti gbé lọ ní ilẹ̀ ìbàjẹ́ ẹkùn kejì kan omi náà lọ́wọ́ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kábà tí wàá sọ ẹkùn kínní. Gómìnà wa ó ń jẹ́ láàyè ó ń ṣe gbogbogbò méje àti ẹ̀yà mẹ́fà tágbára rẹ̀ lè ká ṣùgbọ́n adìyẹ ń dàgùn ẹ̀yà ara rẹ̀ lè jẹ́ kọ́mọ̀.
The legislators also took turns to debate ways to contain other criminal acts such as kidnapping, herders attack, communal clashes and boundary disputes. Mr. Oleyelogun, who commended Amotekun Corps for its efforts at ensuring a secured Ondo State, equally charged security agencies in the state to be alive to their responsibilities. Over 200 homes were affected by the latest surge in Ayetoro seaside, which displaced thousands of residents. Omoshiliola Adesoye Ajayi, Osrc News.
Accra South local government has organized a stakeholders meeting to deliberate on the 2023 budget for the council area. At the event, the council boss, Mr. Gbenga Olaniyi, gave account of his stewardship over the last 2 years, even as he advocated more allocation to the third tier of government in order to meet the yearnings and aspirations of people at the grassroots. OSRC's Sahid Aribisala has more.
It was a gathering of critical stakeholders in Accra South local government area of Ondo State at the Council Secretariat. Representatives of traditional institutions, religious bodies, artisans and professional communities, market association, youths and students body were all in attendance at the stakeholders meeting for the 2023 budget tagged Esuru Budget 2023. The council chairman, Mr. Gbenga Olaniyi, while noting that transparency is key in winning citizens' confidence in governance, decried the low budgetary allocation to the third tier of government despite the enormous load of responsibilities.
We, the Esuru manager, must be readily available, capable, accessible to fulfill this warrior's role, not only for the learning of his people, but to satisfy Almighty God and our conscience that we have actually done so. The question is therefore, is this your current Esuru meeting the people's aspirations and needs?
The occasion was also an opportunity for the council boss to give account of achievements and challenges since assumption of mantle of leadership, just as he expressed the need to improve internally generated revenue at the lowest base of the ladder.
We have been going forth as elected people to man the circle of leadership in Akure South local government. This year 2023 budget title is budget is going from the notorious statement of Akure people, the politicians, the traditional rulers, the religious circles, and members of the public. Council is
The Director, Budget Planning, Research and Statistics of the Council, Mr. Tope Balogun, said though 50% of the projected 6 billion naira for year 2022 was achieved, 90 million naira is targeted IGR in 2023.
We projected for over 6 billion, but what we were able to get in natural term was just a little bit over 3 billion 2022. So it was just about a little bit over 50% of what we actually projected for.
The stakeholders at the meeting commended the council leadership for its open door policy while urging it to remain resilient in the quest to deliver on its mandate to the people.
I am excited that my chairman is performing the person of Honorable Benga Olani. He has performed creditably well, and we can see a lot of projects that he has embarked on and that he has executed already. They were ongoing. So we give it to him. He's an excellent man.
So we thank God that this program to be very
natural meaning, not a corporate meaning. It's a financial statement. We set our government expenditure and income for the coming year. So as a result of the general government is doing the same thing. That they want to know their revenue, their income scope.
From the down-to-earth discussions and contributions of participants, it is glaring that the people are now more committed in working for the progress of Akure South local government area. Sahira Ribisala, OSRC News.
We'll take a break on the news tonight. When we come back, Ondo Amotekun restates commitments to safety of residents. Do stay with us.
Hey, we go wash plate tire. Farabade now.
Madam, hello, brother. Na 3,005.
Ma fún yín ní owó pé káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Bring your phone.
Ha! 10,000.
1,000 naira credit. Now you turn to 10,000.
No. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ.
I told you. Now what go tell?
Before joining us, you're still on to OSRC News at 7. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. The National Judicial Council has released the list of 257 judges who will hear petitions arising from the 2023 Nigeria general elections. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal and the State Election Petition Tribunals are expected to resume full operations in May after the Workers' Day holiday. All winners of the elections have received certificates of return from the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), and hundreds of petitions have already been filed to challenge the results of the Presidential, National Assembly, Governorship, and State Assembly elections. Negotiation and appropriate industrial framework have been advocated in solving incessant strike actions in Nigeria higher institutions. This was the discourse of stakeholders at a colloquium to commemorate the 2023 International Workers' Day organized by Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities, SANU, Futa branch in Akure State capital. Omori Olafungbeji, Reports that all relevant stakeholders, including representative of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, added their voice on the best way to address these challenges facing Nigeria higher institutions.
This is my 8 years in FUTA. My 8 years, good 8 years.
Over 7 years, ma.
These are some of the graduating students of Federal University of Technology, Akure FUTA, finalizing their examinations. The minimum years spent during their study was 8 years, as against the normal school calendar of 4 to 5 years. According to records, about 17 industrial actions took place in Nigerian higher institutions between 1999 and 2023. This, according to many, is not only unhealthy to the nation's economy, but also hindering student chances to compete with their counterparts across the globe. The colloquium with the theme "Entrenching Industrial Peace in Nigerian Public Tertiary Institutions" became one of the strategies adopted by Student Staff Association of Nigeria Universities, SANU, FUTA branch, to address the situation. Chairman of the union, FUTA branch, Felix Adumbi, said the objective of the colloquium is to share knowledge on how to provide solutions to noticeable challenges bedeviling the nation's tertiary institutions.
I hope this discourse will provide opportunity for all of us to learn from one another, to engage in fruitful discussions, and to gain new insights and perspectives.
National Chairman Sanun Mohammed Ibrahim, representing National President, Nigeria Labour Congress, alongside other junior leaders, ruled off the criteria to entrench peace in the university community.
Now that we are inching towards going into a new government, this problem can only change and can only be solved if the new government becomes sincere and realistic. Luckily, we have all that we require in terms of human resources in Nigeria.
Vice Chancellor of the institution, Professor Adenike Oladiji Olowo Ofo Obajibade Ogunye, lead discussants of the colloquium. Isa Aremu, among others, stressed the need to stabilize school calendar and pave the way for developmental growth in the country.
Our appeal, again, as the discussion is going on, that we look at what can we take from here to implement. We are tired of talking. We have done a lot of talking, but we now want actions. We want to leave this place transformed persons committed to peace in our various institutions of higher learning.
There will always be industrial ceremony in any system, but it behoves on those who are concerned, who are the management, to be in session, to be allowed to find solutions.
Peace can only be guaranteed if there is justice and fairness. And I don't think we need to waste more time. What we need to do is that we should, all the key actors should come together and call a spade a spade.
Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu was represented by Special Advisor on Labour Matters, Dare Aragbaye, stressed the power of bargaining, a strategy that plays off in Ondo State.
In our state, what we do is when we discuss with Labour, we must involve everybody, not the governor. Because, like I always assure our Labour leaders, whatever we agree, the governor must implement, and they are giving me that assurance. In other words, we must have this seem to be having the mandate to negotiate in the first instance.
Chairman Governing Council of the institution, God knows Igali, assured the gathering that a communique will be issued detailing suggestions raised.
We must work together for industrial harmony. Government has its own side to play, management has its own side to play, but we also have to understand ourselves in the university.
The gathering also used the opportunity to celebrate the Vice Chancellor of the institution, whose birthday coincided with the event. Omori Olahungbeji, Osrc News.
The Ondo State Amotekun Corps says it is committed to ensuring that people of the state go about their daily activities without fear. Commander of the agency, Adetunji Adeleye, said this at the parade of 31 suspects arrested during operations to ensure peaceful Ramadan and Easter celebrations. Osrc Saeed Aribisala has details.
Heading into the celebration marking Easter and conclusion of Ramadan fast by Muslims, security agencies including Ondo State Security Network Agency and Amotekun deployed personnel to guarantee safety. During the special joint patrols and security checks, 45 suspected criminals were arrested. After due profiling, 31 persons arrested for varying offences such as rape, illegal possession of firearms, ritual, arson, stealing, among other crimes were paraded by the corps. Amotekun Commander Adetunji Adeleye said the suspects would get their dates in court for prosecution.
In the last 1 month, we had only 3 kidnap cases. 2 of such 3 had been resolved, and the third that happened in Osrc local government, we had reached an advanced stage. The security situation of the state, as we talk now, is such that you can do your businesses without fear.
Adeleye, who is also the special advisor to Governor Akeredolu on security, gave update on the crisis in Ikare Akoko, assuring that the situation is under control, adding that the orientation camp in the town is safe for intending corps members.
Again, we want to reassure youth corpers coming into Ikare that the crisis in Ikare is being handled. We met and the security agencies decided that minimum force should be used to guarantee movement so that it will not disrupt the activities. But as we talk now, I want to reassure youth corpers that they can come freely to the camp as security agencies and agents are on ground to ensure their safety.
On the 3 persons kidnapped along Iju in Akure North local government area, the Amotekun boss said 2 have been released and securing the release of the 3rd person is on course. The state security agencies also enjoined residents to report any suspicious activities and movement. Sahid Aribisala, OSRC News.
Still on crime-related issues, the trial of 5 suspects arraigned in the case of the extrajudicial killing of 25-year-old driver Temitokpe Olorunfemi in Akure, the Ondo State capital, was stalled today by the absence of a prosecutor. The 5 suspects were arraigned before the court by the police on 3 counts of felony, unlawful murder, and arson. According to the charge, the offences of the suspects contravene the Criminal Code and laws of Ondo State. The Chief Magistrate, Musa Al-Yunus, had on Tuesday adjourned the case to today following an application solved by the defense team to enable each defendant file a counter-affidavit to the application solved by the prosecutor. At the mention of the case today, the prosecutor, Nelson Akitimei, was said to be away for an emergency training outside the jurisdiction. The development forced the presiding Chief Magistrate, Musa Al-Yunus, to immediately adjourn the case to tomorrow, April 28, 2023. He added that the suspect should be still kept in police custody till the adjourned date. The National Economic Council, NEC, has suspended the planned removal of subsidy on petroleum products by the end of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Med, disclosed this at the end of the NEC meeting, presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. According to the Minister, the NEC concluded in its meeting that it was not a favorable time for the action, but it equally agreed on the need to continue the discussion on the matter and the necessary preparatory work in conjunction with states and representatives of the incoming administration. In the meantime, governors of the 36 states of the Federation have resolved to meet with President Muhammadu Buhari over the new revenue draft by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission in 2022. Chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum and Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, said they will present the new draft formula to the National Assembly before May 29, 2023, when a new government will take over the reins of power. Tambuwal disclosed this after a meeting of the 36 governors under the aegis of the Nigeria Governors Forum in Abuja. The remark presented a report on the review of the vertical allocation formula to the President for necessary action. The report proposed a revenue sharing formula of 45.17% to the federal government, 29.79% to state, and 21.04% to local governments. The first set of Nigerians to be evacuated from Sudan will arrive in the country tomorrow. The chairman of and chief executive officer of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, during the 70th session of a weekly ministerial briefing, noted that barring any last-minute changes, the first set of Nigerian evacuees from Sudan are expected to arrive in Nigeria tomorrow. She announced that 13 buses have departed from 2 universities in Khartoum, carrying Nigerian students to the Aswan border in Egypt, where they will be airlifted to Nigeria. The evacuation process is part of government's efforts to repatriate Nigerian citizens stranded in the war-torn country. Meanwhile, fears of a new civil war are on the rise in Sudan's western region of Darfur, a place long synonymous with conflict. Humanitarian organizations say civilians have begun arming themselves as they organize their own defense forces to protect themselves against attacks from rival tribes, as well as the feared paramilitary known as the Rapid Support Forces, RSF. The RSF is currently involved in a violent power struggle with its former ally, the Sudanese army, resulting in a security vacuum that armed tribes are now exploiting. A human rights monitor said the security situation in Khartoum poses a lot of threats to the people of Darfur because nobody is around to control the militias. The developments have locals and international observers on edge, as some say the current violence could degenerate into targeted ethnic violence, particularly in El Geneina, the capital of West Darfur State, which has already been the site of fighting between Arab and non-Arab tribes over the past year. Before we go tonight, let's take another look at the major stories. The acting governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, has reaffirmed that the southwest region of Nigeria would continue to remain the pace-setter in terms of development in the country through the various initiatives of the Dawn Commission. The Ondo State House of Assembly has appealed to the federal government and international community to intervene on the Ayeto-Rossi incursion, which has displaced many. We told you that the National Economic Council has suspended the planned removal of subsidy on petroleum products, noting that it is not a favorable time for the action. And finally, you heard from the foreign scene that locals in Darfur are arming themselves as new civil war fears rise over shifting alliances in Sudan. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Good night.